Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. Hard to believe that yesterday I was out doing a portable ham radio activity and it was 19 degrees Celsius. And today we have a wintry mix, ice, snow, and potential of freezing rain 24 hours later. Welcome to the Canadian Maritimes. Anyway, in today's POTA how-to video, I get questions a lot on how much should I spend to get a half-decent setup for Parks on the Air as an activator? Interesting question. You can spend a lot of money. You can spend the best. You can buy all the recommended gear that all the other YouTube talking heads promote. You could do that. The amount of money that you could spend has no ceiling. But if you're like many of them, you want to do it on a budget. So a radio will cost you anywhere, used, secondhand, a few $100s up to about $1,000 for a half decent, and I'm talking Canadian dollars, so convert that into your local currency. Maybe $1,500 depending on what you want to get for a radio. You don't need to spend $1,500, but that's how much one could cost if you bought one brand new. Coax cable, again, if you buy it on the cheap from Amazon, will cost you about $35 to $60 depending on which one you get. Oh, little Blue Jay. Sorry, I got distracted. $30 to $80 depending on which one you get. A battery, again, the size of the battery will range anywhere from $100 maybe, top couple $100, up to several $100s. Where I recommend that you do not go cheap is on your antenna. Yes, you can do POTA by throwing a wire into a tree. You're not going to get a heck of a lot of contacts, but I'm talking if you want to work serious DX, okay? You're not worried about talking to Bob in New Jersey or Gus in Georgia or Fred in Florida. You want to talk DX. So a good antenna is where I think you should invest time and money. Now you can go buy an antenna. There's several out there. There's some very expensive antennas that are garbage, and I will cover some of those on future videos as I do assessments of antennas here in upcoming videos. But I personally, I'm not endorsed by these guys. I don't get any kickbacks. I don't have anything to offer you, but I like the KJ6ER Performer. Now you can make that with good parts from your local hardware store, relatively cheap. A Chameleon whip, which I recommend Chameleon, don't go and get anything cheaper than that. Chameleon whips are the best. They're gonna be a little bit more pricier, $70, $80. I think some for a 17, maybe $100 for a 25. Go with a 25 foot if you can, because that gives you a bit more flexibility. You can make that KJ6ER Performer relatively cheap with good parts from your local hardware store. You can also buy it from the Etsy store, and it'll be a few $100s. But don't go cheap on an antenna, because an antenna is what's going to make or break your fun doing ham radio in the field. You can get all the fancy gear that you want. If you got a cheap antenna, you're not going to have fun. You can get away with second-hand, third-hand radios, and as long as you have a good antenna, and have a blast. So that's where I recommend you spend a little bit more money, or you spend a bit more time making one. You don't have to spend a lot of money sometimes, but you do have to invest some time to build a good antenna. Salty Walt, K4OGO, I think it's called, his book cover here, Punk, has some really good antenna designs in his book. I don't get endorsed by Walt. I just bought his book and I read his book, and I'm going to make some of those antennas. KJ6ER has all kinds of different antenna designs. The PDFs are free for you to download. The question about how much money should you spend on Parks on the Air? You can spend as little as you want or as much as you want. There you go. Simple answer, eh? I'm Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. Hope you like this series, and thanks for all the great comments so far. I just want to help people. That's my goal in life, and I hope you guys are getting something from these videos. Welcome to our back to winter wonderland. I hope we don't get the freezing rain. Fingers crossed. 7-3 for now. I'm Stuart. We'll see you guys in the next video.